Kent?
Melanie, Christensen. We started the process in April of 2021, got licensed in July of 22, so we're about 2 years into actually being in business.
I think home care was one of those things that we lived abroad, and while we were abroad, my wife's parents both were getting a lot older, and her mother passed away. And so she had an opportunity to go and spend the last 5 months with her mother, and saw firsthand what home care and hospice and all of those things did, and came back saying, this is something that really interests me. And I think that's just started that process of thinking this might be something that we'd like to do in the future.
Wow, we've had a few clients that we've developed some pretty special relationships with, but one of them was one of our very first clients. She was an older woman, if I remember right, maybe 93 or so, living with her son and daughter-in-law, and seeing their family dynamic was very inspirational. They loved each other, they had a great relationship, and that allowing us to come in with our caregivers and build relationships with them while helping the mom through this transitional part of her journey was encouraging to me and helped me want to use them sort of as an example of how families can work together, but then also how home care can supplement and bolster their experience through that transition. Realizing that not everybody has that kind of family care. We've got a lot of clients that are all alone. And so being able to be that person that can go in and help them and be that companion to them that they don't have in a family way also has been pretty touching and gratifying.
I think being a partner as well, research is very clear that caregivers, especially family caregivers, don't know where to stop. They don't know those boundaries, and they give and they give and they give, and a high percentage of those caregivers actually pass away before the person who is their caregiving does, because they just give and they give. And to be able to be a partner and help, and to be able to spend the time to give them a little bit of background and a little bit of help and a little bit of support so that they can enjoy that time and really be involved in that time instead of focusing and worrying about all of the things that are going to go, they're going to have to deal with and what they're going to have to do. Just having a partner, I think, has been. When it came time for us to, we were ready to make a change in our lives. We reached out to a franchise broker who put us through all sorts of tests and different kinds of things and kind of taught us a little bit about ourselves and presented a bunch of different things to us to look at and things to do. And a better solution was actually one of those first 5 that he gave us. And as we started to look at it and research it, we felt like it was a place where we could be home. This is a company, a franchise that has values. This is a franchise that is owned and managed by somebody who used to be a caregiver, so that they understand and they know the struggles we're going to go through. They have a process in place that allows us to learn, because we'd never been in this industry before, but we had a desire to serve, and we had a desire to be of assistance and to do these kinds of things. And they have a system that teaches us and helps us to be able to provide the comfort and the help and the business structure around that to be able to be effective. And we also really liked the fact that it was a small organization. Right now there's 20, 25 franchises, and that's wonderful. We get we can call and talk to Leah anytime, and she'll call us and talk to us, and there's no problem. And I think in a large organization that's a little unheard of. So it's nice. It's a family feeling kind of an organization, and we really enjoyed that. So that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, that was pretty much not knowing what we were getting into. One thing that really spoke to us was their values, and they're a Christian-centered organization, and that was important to us. And yet they're all-inclusive. It's not exclusive of any beliefs but just something that was important to us. I think for me, one thing that I've really appreciated is the ongoing support. We've had people from corporate come to our location multiple times to spend time with us and to teach us and to reach out to us. Our weekly calls with them, don't know that I always need one every week, and yet I always need one every week. I always get something from them, and I don't know how many other franchises do that. I don't know how many other home care companies do that, but we feel very important. I feel like we're important to the franchise because of the care we get from corporate.
We have a couple office staff who have been with a different franchise, and it's been interesting to see the difference in what that is. And it's night and day. A better solution is much more customer care focused. It's much more, it's all about the service. It's wraparound service. It's the service not only to our clients, but to our caregivers and to our business and to our franchise and to us as owners. And the two that we have in the office that we're in a different franchise, they're a little amazed. That's not that's not our experience. And the one lady we have has been in the business for over 30 years. So I think it's just a different feel. It's very much a family feel, and I think it's different than a lot of others out there. A lot of people talk the talk, but not very many of them walk the walk, and I think that's what ABS does.
They haven't given up on us. We're not the fastest growing in the company, and yet they believe in us. They have confidence in us. They want us to recognize our potential and take responsibility for that. And they're just there to help us every step of the way. They recognize that our success is up to us, but they're there to help us and encourage us, to teach us and mentor us, and just sort of hold hand us through that as much as we'll accept that and take that and run with it.
I think we get whatever level we want. I really do. I think if we don't want any support, then they're going to let us do it on our own, because Leah tells me all the time, look, I can't want this more than you want it. I may, but I can't do anything about that. So you can only, if we need the help, we'll ask for help. And so anytime we've needed help, whether it's something very small, whether it's a new legal issue that we just had, whether it's a caregiver problem that we're having, or whether it's where do we go from here and what is my strategy for the next 2 years and how do I get there kind of conversations, they're there and they're available and always willing to chat, all the way from Leah down to whomever. And they send people out to work with us. We've got a coach. We've got all of the things that we need to be able to be successful. If we're not successful, it's either because we don't want it bad enough or we're just not willing to do what it takes to do it. It's certainly not on the support side. I think we've got all the support we need up to whatever level we feel comfortable. And I think they would give us anything that we needed to within reason to be able to be successful.
Yeah, I have 2 calls a week, and at the end of both calls, they're saying, hey, I'm always here for you. Anything you need, call me. I really appreciate that. There have been times in the last 2 years that I've thought, I don't know what I would do if we didn't have the franchise, because it feels like we're not moving. It feels like we're never going to succeed. And yet knowing that we have the support of the franchise and with the corporate at ABS has given me courage and confidence to know that we are going to succeed. It is going to work because they're a phone call away and they'll be on a plane today if I need them, and they're there to help us.
Well, I think the other thing too is we have other franchisees in the system that we can call and ask any question, and everybody just wants to share and help and give us their experience and what they did and how because what we've learned is everybody goes through the same thing. I mean, it's a little different for most people, but everybody goes through pretty much the same system or the same problems or the same issues. And so not only do we have corporate kind of franchise support and help, but we also have all the other franchisees who are very willing, and we come to conferences every year and we get on the phone with people and we talk to people and we email back and forth, and that support is also really invaluable.
I would say, just right off the top, I want to say do it. But then I would say you need to make sure you have a really solid why. You need to make sure that this is deep in your heart. This needs to be something that you feel as much as something that you do, because it isn't easy. It's discouraging, it can be frustrating, and yet it can be so rewarding and fulfilling. And you've got to be able to work through the frustrating, discouraging times until the next fulfilling, happy time where and just knowing that you're always helping someone, whether it's the clients or the caregivers. I think being able to help them with caregivers was a side of the business I hadn't really thought about until we had signed the papers and we were going through the licensing process. I looked forward to helping our clients and to work with the elderly, but seeing the caregivers that have come into our lives, I really want to make an impact on them, and I feel like any good franchise owner would do that. Any good franchise owner has to know that their caregivers are so important and such an important part of their team. You've got to want to help them succeed in their lives while still having your focus be on your clients. So I just think there's a lot to consider, but it's a good life to be in.
My advice would be to do your research. If you do your research and you put all of those things in place, that you ask all the right questions, and if you don't know the right questions, call, ask, but ask those questions, make sure that you understand exactly what you're getting into, but do the research. And we did a lot of research. We spent a lot of time. It took us months to kind of go through the process and make phone calls. We called other owners. We wanted to know all sorts of things, and we asked them tough questions, and they were all very willing to share and talk to us. But I would say do your research. If you really do your research, you're going to come back to ABS and realize what a special place this is. It was the best decision we've made, and we're in this for the long haul. Some days are better than others, but we love where we're at, and we love even more where we're going to be. And we appreciate the support we get. So I would just say do your research.